I'm Julianna. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into the world of clarinet reeds, troubleshooting some of the common problems and giving some solutions. Over the years, I've picked up a little insight here and a little trick there, and in this video, I'll be sharing the top 10 things I wish I knew about reeds when I was younger. So whether you're a beginner or a seasoned player, these insights will help you navigate the sometimes baffling world of clarinet reeds. But before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all things clarinet related. I've also created a guide with all of my notes and tips to this video, and I'll leave a link to it in the pinned comment at the top of this video and in the description box. Number 1, there are two categories of issues with reeds, mechanical and organic. So as my college professor, Dr. Chuck West, used to say, problems with reeds boil down to two categories, mechanical and organic. Organic problems cannot be repaired mechanically. Bad cane makes bad reeds. Mechanical considerations include warpage, balance, tip to heart relationship, tip center to corner relationships, vamp length, and reed thickness and width. Understanding the function of each of these considerations leads to greater control of reeds and thus greater control of our lives as players. So how do you know the difference between organic problems, which is bad reed cane, the material from which reeds are made, or is it a mechanical issue? Well, my advice is to start by investing in high quality reeds first, which brings me to my second point. Number 2, invest in quality reeds. While budget reeds may seem like a bargain, investing in high quality reeds from reputable brands will yield better results in the long term. Manufacturers that take the time to cure the reed cane before the reed goes to market will probably work better for you. I really like the Van Doren reeds. I think most people do, but I have a lot of clarinet friends and professional clarinet playing friends who have had success with the D'Addario and the Rigatti reeds. I also would not recommend the Rico reeds, especially for young beginners, but I have tried the Rico Grand Concert reeds in the past, and they're pretty decent in my opinion. I'll put some pictures of those products up here, and I'll try to link them in the description box as well. Number 3, reed strength matters. I've had many beginning students over the years come to me with reeds that are unplayable for them. I've seen a couple of scenarios play out. One is that usually, in my experience, well-meaning band directors will tell their beginning students to buy a strength of 3 reed for beginners because as band directors, they've experienced too many problems with poorly manufactured reeds in the past. And number 2, the student will be playing on a reed that is often too soft for them, i.e. poorly manufactured reed. So typically for most beginners, I have them try out the Van Doren traditional cut in either the strength 2.5 or if they need to go down to a 2, I'll usually start there and then work them back up to 2.5. So just remember that one size doesn't fit all when we're trying to find the right reed strength for yourself. So experiment with different strengths to find the perfect match for your playing style and mouthpiece. I know that a lot of music stores have come around and they'll let you buy maybe a split box of like 2 and 2.5, or a 2.5 and a 3. So work with your local music store and see what you can come up with if pricing is an issue, which reeds are very expensive now. I will definitely give you that. Number 4, a break-in period is essential for your reeds. New reeds need time to break in and reach their full potential. For the first several days, limit the time that a new reed is played to just a few minutes and carefully seal and polish the vamp, so the cut part of the reed, and then the back of the reed, which is the flat part of the reed. Be patient and give them time to adjust to your embouchure and to your playing environment. Number 5, rotate your reeds. So rotate between multiple reeds to extend their lifespan and prevent fatigue. A well-rotated reed will last longer and maintain its quality over time. Also, when it comes to reeds, there is definitely safety in numbers. You'll be more confident for any performance if you know that you have 1 out of 10 reeds in your reed case that have been broken in instead of just 1 or 2 reeds that have been broken in. So continually add new reeds to your storage system. Always add new reeds to your rotation so that you have some new reeds you're breaking in, reeds that are at their optimal performance quality, and then other reeds that may be on their way out but are still useful for warm-up practice sessions. Number 6, humidity control is crucial. One of the most pervasive problems I find with reeds is that they will warp as the humidity changes. So controlling the humidity in the environment in which the reeds are stored and making any adjustments to the humidity as needed will help bring consistency to the performance of your reeds. I like using the Boveda humidity packs, 72%, in my reed case to help maintain humidity control. Proper care and maintenance can significantly prolong the life of your reeds. So invest in a good reed case. Keep your reeds humidified, and this depends on what kind of environment you live in, i.e. do you live in a dry environment, like do you live in the Rockies of Colorado, or do you live in a wet environment like the Everglades of Florida? So this will definitely determine how you're going to take care of your reeds' humidity control. And also I would say you need to rotate them regularly as well. And this brings me to my next point, which is number 7, reed storage does matter. So store your reeds in a consistent environment to maintain their stability and performance. Avoid extreme temperatures and humidity levels that can warp or damage your reeds. Any reed case or storage system that helps you maintain humidity control is always a good place to start. Some good options would be the Van Doren HRC10 Hygro case for B-flat clarinet. Also the D'Addario single reed case with humidity pack control. I've made a video about reed cases here if you want to check that out for more ideas. Number 8, there might only be 1 or 2 reeds out of a box that are good. So there's a funny social media meme making its rounds on Instagram, and the Army Field Band made one about reeds. I'll insert that clip here.
All that work and what did it get me?
Your reed will tell you a lot about its condition and its playability. So listen for tone, response, and resistance changes and adjust accordingly. As most clarinetists will tell you from experience, typically only 1 or 2 reeds out of a box of commercial reeds will work well for you right out of the box. That's why it's a good idea to learn how to make some adjustments to the reeds so that you can get better results out of all of the reeds that you spent your hard-earned money on, right? And this brings me to my next point, which is number 9, learn to adjust your reeds. So don't be afraid to tweak your reeds to improve their playability. Learn basic adjustment techniques such as sanding and balancing to tailor your reeds to your liking. I typically like to test for the balance of the reed on my mouthpiece by doing this balance test. I have a video on my channel about how to do that here. A good rule of thumb is for the reed to be balanced, it must take on the mirror image of the mouthpiece facing. So everyone's mouthpiece facing is different. For this reason, this is why not every reed will work on every mouthpiece right out of the box. So the player will always need to adjust for the reed to work on any mouthpiece. That being said, be prepared to lose a few reeds during the experimentation process of adjusting reeds. And number 10, learn to manage warping. So understand that all wood warps when going from a wet to dry state. Reeds will warp to the wettest spot, so dry them vamp side down, not flat side down, so that they dry evenly. I know when you're a student and you're going from class to class, it's not always possible to let your reed dry out, so put it back in your case and just expect it to have some warping. Usually the cases that are on the market today will help sort of prevent major warping of your reed. Check for warpage using a wet reed and a piece of plexiglass or reed glass. Notice how much movement the reed makes as you rock the reed from left to right using your index and middle finger. You can adjust the warped reed by using either number 600 or 800 dry wet sandpaper. Lightly sand the reed from behind the vamp to the heel of the reed, back and forth across the sandpaper a few times. Start with maybe 8 or 12 times. You can always take more reed away, but you can't ever put more reed back. So a word of caution, sanding a warped commercial reed's entire back, so the length of the reed, never completely flattens it, and it changes the center to side proportions significantly. So check for warpage again by wetting the reed and starting the rocking test. If most of the warping is gone, you can seal the reed using the back of the sandpaper and glide the reed back and forth a few times. I've wet this reed. It's on the back side of this plexiglass. You see how I'm rocking it back and forth and the reed is actually moving back and forth like that? That means there's some warpage in there. So typically we don't want to sand from here on up on a commercial reed because it will sort of affect the overall measurement of the reed. So if it's a reed you like, I would probably first just sand like from where my thumb is, from here to the end, and not worry about this part. So I'll show you how I do that. I've got my 600 grit sandpaper. I'm using the back side first. I'm just very lightly just going to do that first and just sort of dry it off a little bit. So if you care about the reed, so I am just going to work on sanding from here to here and see if we can just flatten out the back just a little bit and just lightly sand back and forth. I've seen people use the Reed Geek to do this. I have a Reed Geek. Once I get comfortable with it, I'll probably make a video about it. But for right now, I'm just using sandpaper because I'm more confident with it. And let's re-wet this reed and see if it's done anything for the warping. So I've re-wet the reed. I'm doing the same sort of test. To me, it looks and feels a little bit better, but I'm going to show you what I do with some of my reeds, and that is I'm going to actually sand all of the reed, which just be very careful if you do try this. I'm pretty comfortable doing it. I usually get pretty good results by doing this, but if you are heavy-handed with this technique, you will sort of destroy your reed. So this is why I recommend starting with a reed you don't really care about. I'm just going to seal the back just a little bit. This is just how I prefer to do things. And then I'm just very lightly going to take my reed and just a couple back and forths. And then I'm going to re-wet it and see if that's changed any of the warping. Let me look this up a little bit. It's a little bit better. So the ultimate thing would be to test this reed on the mouthpiece to see if it sounds better to you, if you get a better response. See, there's still a little warpage in here. I'm not going to take it any further because I feel like I would thin this reed out. But at this point, if you test it on the mouthpiece and you like the way it's responding, I would dry it off, and then you can just sort of seal the back like that. And then you can stick it back in your reed case. You can play on it a little bit, but don't play too much because you've essentially sort of just rebalanced your reed a little bit. So there you have it, the top 10 things I wish I knew about clarinet reeds when I was younger. I always like to share the things that I learn about reeds. If they're helpful to you, great. If they're not helpful, you don't have to use these tips. They're just tips that have personally helped me over the years. If you found this video helpful and insightful and you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I also have a read playlist on my channel with other helpful read tips. If you have any other read tips, tips and tricks that I didn't cover in this video, please feel free to add them to the comments section. So until next time, happy clarinet playing. Bye.